me waiting. I'm sitting here anticipating and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, come on, turn around, put on the brakes. All right, slow yourself down. All right, because you have to realize that, you know what? It's not according to your time. It's not according to your time. It's not according to what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you want to do it. God says sometimes there is a lesson. There is a lesson in it. And if we don't learn the lesson, we'll end up turning around and we'll end up saying, where did the time go? Which is the title of our lesson on tonight. Where did the time go? Because for some of us, we are systematically late. Because let me give you a point. If it takes you 15 minutes to get to where you need to get to, and you leave 5 minutes early, you don't give yourself enough time to get there, all right, on time. Because leaving when you got to get there, it takes 15 minutes and you leave 20 minutes early, you got to rush. And especially when it comes to coming to the house of the Lord, because you're not giving yourself that little leeway time just in case if something happens. Nah, you're rushing. And then what makes it bad is you're rushing into church because you're late. Then you're rushing up to do prayer because you're the one that's supposed to be charging the atmosphere, or you're rushing to be the worship leader, or you're rushing to sing praise and worship, or you're rushing to the instruments, or you're just rushing, period. And in all of that, that does not give you the opportunity or the chance to sit and settle yourself. It does not give you the chance because you're like this. And so you bring that type of spirit, that type of energy, all right, to whatever it is that you're going to. And it becomes, to a certain degree, a disruption. Because you're sitting up there like, oh my gosh, I wish I could slow down. I wish. No. If you planned out in advance, it takes me 15 minutes. Let me leave 15 minutes ahead of time just to give myself some just in case time. Because I don't know what will happen in between now and then. So I need that little bit of extra time. Because you can live 2 minutes from the church, but then all of a sudden you pull out of your driveway or you pull around the corner, and next thing you know, you end up getting into an accident, or you end up having a blowout, or any number of things happen. And then you won't be able to make it. Or if not that, you'll be late, all right, because you were supposed to be active in ministry. Now, that's just me leading and segueing into the lesson on tonight. Because like we stated, tonight's lesson, because we're dealing with love language. Love language. And tonight is quality time. Quality time. That is a love language. Quality time. And we are coming from Ephesians 5:16, where it states, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right? Ephesians 5:16, which it states, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So, since God has already started, and I'm done really reared up already, let's start off with this first question. Now, I'm going to need some people to come up off of mute and answer this question for me. The first question is this: what's the difference between being present and being present? All right. And I know it sounds like a play on words, but I need for each and every one to think about it. What is the difference, and we're dealing with time, of being present and being present? What is the difference? And I know some people are like, what in the world is Pastor asking on tonight?
Well, being present, meaning your body can be there, but your mind is not there. But being present is that you're engaged in what's going on, you're listening, you're paying attention, and you're focusing on what's going on at that moment. So you're not distracted, but you are in that place, involved in that place. So that is the difference between present, your body just being there, but you're not really there. Like you're not a help, you're just there, taking up, not taking up space, but taking up somebody's space.
Right, you taking up
Taking up
space.
somebody's space, but being present, meaning you're being active, you're engaged, you're focused, you are in tune to what's going on.
All right. Somebody else want to add to it? The difference between being present and being present.
I agree with Minister Talisha. Being present and being present, meaning that you're there, but are you there? You know, you might say, well, I have to be there so that I'm not deemed as not being there. And so you're there. For what reason, though? Are you there so that you could show that you're present? Or are you there because this is what there's no way that you want to miss the Lord's
move,
the Lord's, the gathering of the saints, or the word or whatever? Are you there enthusiastically wanting to hear what God has to say on today with excitement and yield? You can't wait. Or are you there in order to flesh in the flesh, in order to show that, hey, I wasn't missing?
And I also agree with Minister Talisha too. Present, I'm there bodily, but present, I'm there ready to work, and you see me, and I'm ready to do what I have to do. So I agree with her too.
And I also think about when we do remote learning, we had a grading system, right? So even if the child was present, meaning on the screen, but they didn't do any work, we had to mark them absent because they were not present, actually actively working. So they could be on the screen and just staring in the screen, but not answering questions, not engaged, not doing the work that was assigned. And even though they were sitting in front of the screen and I saw them, they saw me, we still had to mark them absent if they did not complete any work.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say the same thing. If you're present by obligation or present because you want to be there.
Oh, present by obligation or present because you want to be there. Because if you think about it in church. You think about it, because you have some people that will just come because they want to be counted in the number, but they are not really part of, like we said earlier, they're just taking up space. That's really what's happening. They're just taking up space. Anyone else? All right. Because it's sad when you have to manipulate people and you have to, switch and jump through all these hoops and all that other stuff, because it's also a point of being present and engaged. All right. That's one of the big things, because you could be present, all right, but you're not engaged at all. You could just be sitting there like, and you can hear a pin drop and you're not engaged at all. So you're necessarily not getting anything out of it. Or you could be doing multiple things at one time and you're not really engaged at all. You're just there. All right. Anybody have anything they want to add or something that they want to say? Because we'll go on to the next question.
And Pastor, when you're not present, when I think about school too, you can't grow. There are things you're missing. You're missing the lesson. You're not learning. So even when you're sitting in church and you're multitasking, and as the preacher's preaching and the Lord is speaking through the preacher, giving you directly what you need, but you're occupied by something else that's distracting you, you are missing the lesson and you can't learn. And we always depend on the replay, but the replay is not like the in play. It's not like when you're in there, right? So even though we think we can multitask, that's a trick of the enemy to cause you to lose your focus and you get distracted and you are not growing because you're missing pieces that you should have been listening for.
Exactly. And you think because you're looking on this or looking at this, you know, that no, this is not that important. Unless the preacher told you, I want somebody to tweet this out, or I want somebody to post this, that's the only reason why, to a certain degree, this should be out. Or you're commenting on the live stream. That's the only reason why it should be out. Other than that, what somebody's putting on Facebook and all that other stuff, that's not that important. It's not that important. You could put this down for a few moments and be completely engaged. Anyone else?
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
I would say, since we are talking about love language, being present is different from being present. When we are just present, you have the other person who is actively trying to be a part of a relationship, and you got one member who is just there present. So you got like Minister Alicia was saying about school, about not growing. Your relationship is not growing. One person is there trying to do all they can do while the other person is just present. They're not engaged. They're not focused. The relationship is not moving forward and it's not growing. And it hinders what's going on because you're not willingly in it together. You're not willingly trying to build it together, and eventually it's going to make the other person realize that they're in it by themselves and have to make a decision whether to remove their presence.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you had something good on that grill.
Burgers.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Now, let me ask this question, which is question number 2. Why, as people, do we think substituting things for time is a good substitute? All right. I'll read it again. It's going to come up on the screen. Why, as people, do we think substituting things for time is a good substitute? But also a companion question to that is, does that make a situation better or worse? And I'll repeat the question one last time. Why, as people, do we think substituting things for time is a good substitute? And the companion question is, does that make a situation better or worse? Somebody come off of mute and let's dig at this question.
I would say it makes it worse.
Okay. Support your answer. It
makes it worse because nothing is more precious than time. And for you to give up time for someone else to spend time with someone else, that is the most precious gift, because it's not like they can take it away. It's not like you can give it back. It's something that's precious. People, I think, do it for selfish reasons. They don't want to give up their time. They would rather just put something else in that spot to fill the void rather than give of themselves, which is something they can't give back.
All right. Someone else want to add to it? Why, as people, do we think substituting things for time is a good substitute? And does that make it better or worse?
That makes me think of kids, like when you have the father that doesn't want to be there, or the parent that doesn't want to be there, they throw money at them and they throw things. And I'm a big advocate of, I don't need your child support. I'd rather you spend time with the kid. And that I get the purpose of child support, but I would rather you spend time with the kids so they get to know you, you get to know them, and you can see how special this child is versus you just throwing things at them and then they think, you know, okay, well, that's how life is supposed to be. So time, it's yeah, okay. You got
No, it's okay. It's all right. You don't have to shut down. You don't have to shut down. Anyone else?
It can also be selfishness, and you don't even know how to spend time with yourself. So how can you be vulnerable and really, because when you spend time with someone, the true you gonna come out eventually, right? So we think that we can substitute it by giving them something, which means that we don't have to spend our time with them. We want to be selfish. We want to spend time away from others. We don't want to really have to sit and commune and talk and learn and grow, and for somebody to see us for who we really are. So we, like Felita said, you'd rather give money, you rather do other things so that you don't have to be present, because being present is a place where you have to be open. You have to be vulnerable. Otherwise, people are going to see the fake you. And if you don't know how to spend time with you, they're going to feel it when you try to sit in their presence. They're going to know that time is up.
Yeah. Sure enough. Sure enough. Anyone else?
that is so true. It shows you the real you when you're able to spend time with someone, because you have to be vulnerable. That is so true. Sorry, back to the kids again. When you spend time with your kid, they get a chance to get to know you. And it's the same thing with your husband or your wife, your spouse. They get the time to get to know you, and they get that intimacy. And it's the same way we're supposed to be with Christ. How can we know Christ if we don't spend time with him?
Come on.
We have to be able to open up and actually spend the time, because the more time you spend, the more deeper the connection is, the more entwined the actual connection can be, where if there wasn't some kind of disconnect, it can't come in and remove anything that was there, because there's so much time that was spent to entwine and everything in between.
Yeah. Yep. Sister Chastity put online on YouTube, I don't know that it's a good substitute. A person may substitute it with things to feel less guilty. To try to hide or cover up, or to substitute, all right, their guilt, to try to make up the difference. Anyone else? Anyone else?
And I want to say, I agree with Sister Felita. It does make it worse, because the more you substitute materials and things, you definitely will have room for something to creep in, because there is no connection. So you give room for something else to come through. And also the person now will only look at you as a person that gives material and never really want to spend time with you anymore, because they only want to see your hand. They want to just see what you can give, not your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we always hear, seek the face of God, not the hand.
It also takes away the teachable moments. It also takes away the learning moments. Like you said, how will you get to know anyone? How would that person get to know you? How would you get to share? How would you get to be an example? How would you get to teach right from wrong? Like, it's so many different avenues, so many different ways for you to look at it. And then when it comes to a child situation, whether it's the male or the female, sometimes that kid is a total reminder of someone you want to forget. So you just, here, do this or go do that. That's to get them from around you. So it takes away from you teaching and training that child. It takes away from that child learning different values. And it also leaves a big gap that as that child get older, they won't be able to be transparent. So it's just so many ways to look at it.
Yes. This is good, y'all. This is good. This is good. Is there anyone else?
Yes, I personally don't want to spend time with nobody I don't like. So if I want to spend time with you, or if I'm spending time with you, that means I think highly of you, I love you, or I kind of like you. But if I don't like you, I'm not going to want to spend time with you. So I'm not going to want to invest any time in you or in anything that I'm not so interested in.
All right.
I can agree with that, but I can also say that kind of sucks too. And I'm not doing this anyway towards you, Sister T. You know I love you. But that kind of sucks too, because now you don't get a chance to get to know who that person really is, because of the fact that that relationship is not really, you don't really know who that is, because now you kind of like, well, I don't really know you and I don't really like you that much, so I can't spend time with you.
Well, I don't make that not like you judgment lightly though.
Yeah. I was, like I said, I'm not doing anything to
yeah, no, I'm just clarifying that, because in order for me to say I don't like you, I've had to kind of spend some time with you or have some, you know, some kind of connection somewhere in there. But yeah, I if I want to get to know you, that's a good way to put it. If I want to get to know you, then yeah, you got to spend time.
You got to. All right. Anyone else?
Yes,
Nope.
I can add to that, because just thinking this weekend, I mean, spending time, especially like Sister Felita said, about with your kids, your family, your children, substituting that time is, I tell you, it can make it worse. And just to add that, even if it's someone you don't know, but to spend the time with them is getting to know them even more, how precious that is. Just thinking about all my kids and bringing their friends, bringing them to church, coming together, having that time, that is precious. So when you get that time together, you can't take that back. If by saying, you know what, I'll come with you later, or I'll make it up to you later. We go out to dinner later. But the time right now is so precious. It's so precious. So it will make it worse if you try to put something in place of that. But I'm telling you, the time you can have with each other right now, it's good. It's good. And it's well worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyone else?
I know when I went to England to have to spend time with my sister, because the doctor's only given her 3 months to live. You know, I had to leave here. I had to leave home. I had to leave home I had to make that decision where my time was needed most. And so I had to leave home without straightening anything out, you know, without knowing what my husband needed to do or had to do. I had to make that time. God said, you got to go. And I had to go.
Yeah.
And while I was there, it was really profitable for me, because my sister has not believed in God for a long time. And the day came when I heard the Lord say, you have to baptize your sister. Talk to her about me and baptize her. Once she receives me, baptize her in the bathtub. And I realized why my time with her was essential. She gave her life to Christ while I was there. And exactly it. My other sister was there from Trinidad, and we both got her ready, and I baptized her in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in the bathtub, because she said, yes, I received Christ. So a lot of times you think that things come to where you have to go. You have to know that God is telling you, do this or do that, whether you have time or not, because it's essential. It's essential. We're all here to teach one another, to help one another. We're really not here, you know, concentrating on us and us alone. Some things has to suffer, if I could say that word. Some things has to suffer, and some things has to be put as a priority, put it that way. And when God tells you to move, you got to move, whether you got time or not. Because it's for a reason, and he doesn't give you that reason until you get there. So I hear everybody talking about time and blah, 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 but time is so essential, especially when it's God's timing. And you have to go when he say go.
because the point that I'm going to make on tonight, and we're going to continue on, is it's our first point. It's an investment. It is an investment. And I'm going to go from this aspect of it to add on to what has already been mentioned. Just hear this. Too many men have been manipulated either by themselves, by their wife, by a baby mama, by an old grandfather, by barbershop talk, or even by society, that they are babysitting instead of spending time or doing what they are supposed to do as a father. It shouldn't be to the place where we should be asked, oh, can you watch the kids? No, it's not, can you watch the kids? Those are my kids. What needs to be done? It's not, I'm babysitting my daughter. No, you're not babysitting your daughter. No, you are spending time with your daughter. That's what it is. And for some, they have been manipulated into believing that you are really babysitting. And that's not the case. That is not the case. And you got the wrong, and you put it plainly, you got the wrong aspect. You got the wrong terminology. You got wrong thinking. All right. You got to change the way you are thinking, your thought process. All right. Because those are your kids. When you talk about babysitting, that's when somebody else is watching your kids. That's somebody else. They don't have no type of attachment to them or anything. But when you're talking about your own kids, it's not babysitting. It's spending that time with them. It's spending that time with them. And so continuing, we take time out of our day, or we take time out of the rat race of life. And that, when we take that time out and spend that quality time with somebody, all right, that's showing them love. That's making an investment in their life. Because as the Elder Bebop said, you can share with them. You could allow it to be a teaching moment. You can allow it to be, a period of time where you're getting to share with them the wisdom that you have gained over the years. Over the years. Because we got to realize we're not getting any younger. Time is not standing still. It's not. All right. And time is continuing to move on. All right. Let me put it this way, or let me look at, or take a look at it this way. Things will break. All right. Possessions, they will break. They will get old. We will throw them out. But good memories, like Elder Nickens was talking about from Sunday, good memories, good times, that lasts forever. That lasts forever. And let me put it this way. And it was almost as if Elder Nickens had looked at my notes, because with as stressful as to a certain degree as this pandemic has been, there has been some good memories that have come out of it. All right. Because you got to spend that time with people in your family, all right, in a home that you never got to spend that much time with before. And we were stressing earlier, meaning people spend that time with somebody that you normally don't get the chance to, because as Sister April had put, time is valuable and you cannot get it back. You cannot get it back. That's why when we get caught up in the middle of the night, all right, when God calls us and gets us up in the middle of the night and says, I need you to spend some time with me, it is important. Because you're actually showing God that, you know what? My time with you is important and your time with me is important. So I'm going to get up out of my bed, even though I got to go to work in a couple hours. I'm going to get up out of my bed and I'm going to spend that time in prayer with you. And sometimes he just wants to talk to us and minister to us. But if we're not willing to spend that time with him, so let me put it another way. When we do not spend that time with the Lord, then we are not showing him how much we love him. Because love goes beyond just words. There are actions that need to be associated with those words. Now, let me move on to the next question. Relatively easy. So let me ask this. Is it quality or quantity of time that is important? Support your answer. Is it quality or quantity of time that is important? Somebody come off of mute.
I would say quality over quantity, because you could spend hours with someone and not even spend hours with someone. You could be in someone's presence for 2 hours on your phone, they're on their phone, and there is not even conversation going. But you could spend 5 minutes in the presence of somebody and change their life. So it's the quality that matters, not the quantity.
All right. All right, somebody has another view or something they want to add to that?
Definitely. I agree. You have, it has to be the quality.
Mm-hmm.
You be with somebody for hours and not say a word.
Yep.
It's got
Just
to
sitting
be
there
the
looking
quality.
at each other.
Yeah, it's got to be
FaceTiming.
quality.
Hey.
Well, I think it'll depend on who you're spending the time with.
Yeah, out of my head, yes. I'm gonna go next.
It could be both, because the quality time could be very qualitative, and quantity of time could be even great if that quantity is qualitative time. So if you're doing some constructive, positive stuff, you see, confirmation comes from the outside, from the culture, and transformation comes from the inside. So if you give a lot of yourself in a lot of time that you spend with somebody, then that, that quantity of that time is good. So you got a quantity and quality mix that could both be beneficial.
All right. And next time we're going to need to bust out a dictionary. You start dropping them big words on us.
Romans 12, 1 and 2.
Sister Latrice.
I was saying, get out of my head, Brother Fierce, because it definitely depends on who the conversation or the time is being spent with. Like, say if you're talking about a couple, I wouldn't just want to go to a 5-star restaurant and spend $500 for one night, and we can spend that $500 in 3 different ways. We can break it down and go on mini dates, a couple of different things that we can do with that, depending on the person or whatever situation that you would say, however the situation is, depending on the person though. I would not say that it's the quality. I would say it's the quantity, because it can be a flip side to everything.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I agree.
And that's why I left it open, because it could be either or.
Yeah,
Somebody else.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I was given the opportunity to spend time with my aunt before she passed. So it was like, even though it was over, months and it was like, bursts where I could spend all day with her. Sometimes it was just a little bit of time with her where I'm in and out. But I learned so much about my family and about, different traits that I have in that small little bit of time or large amount of time that we got a chance to spend together. So it depends. Yeah, I agree.
And also it depends on who it is, like we're talking about, whether they receive it as quantity or quality. It can be a mixture of both. So
Man, I agree with that.
how they view it,
Yeah. Anyone else? All right. Now, let's move on to the next question, which is this. Is it the time spent or the sacrifice made that is important to the person? Especially when they know you are not really interested in it.
In what?
Let me read it again. Is it the time spent or the sacrifice made that is important to a person? All right, especially when they know you're not really interested in whatever it is. Is it the time spent or the sacrifice made?
I would say the sacrifice, because anyone can be down to do something that they're interested in. Sorry, I had to mute everybody real quick. I'm back. But yeah, it always depends on, I would say, if the person is really trying to get to know you or spend time with you to do something that you actually like to do, versus, oh, we both like bowling, let's go bowling. Nah, I might only be into shooting pool. How about we have a pool night? You know, it can always be an alternative way of thinking, because you can't be selfish. You have to be selfless.
All right.
I agree with Latrice. Like, I'm not into cars. My husband is. And so I used to kind of shun away from when he used to watch these shows, not really spend the time or sacrifice my time watching it. But as we're talking about love language, I found myself learning how to love what he loved and sacrifice my own dislikes to learn what he liked. And he found that I sacrificed that. So he was more engaged with talking about it, teaching me about it. And then I found myself now liking it and now pointing out things, because we are now having a commonality. So it's not all about what I like. It's about sacrificing my likes for my dislikes to get his likes, to learn how to now become one.
Bring it together.
In a relationship. So
there you go.
It's both together. It is a sacrifice, but it's also the time. And you show the other person, when we're talking about relationships, that you appreciate and you value the differences, and that you can now come together as one. Glory to God. I'm going to hang up. Hallelujah.
No, you are.
That was so nice of you.
Yes. You're hitting
But it's
the
true.
nail
And
on
you
the
know what
head.
else? And they feel valued, right? So it's not one-sided. They feel a sense of community in the household, so that when you need them to do something or come with you somewhere, there is not a jaded view of that she's using me or he's using me, but this person really loves me for the whole body and not just what I can give. And it brings a nice sense of family and community. And it's a love exchange between even with friends. You know, it's great to have a friend who really doesn't like what you like, so that you can learn, that you can expand, that you can see new things and not just be one-sided, one-tracked.
Or narrow-minded.
Come on here. We're talking about it. Narrow-minded.
Yes.
And you're going to appreciate what somebody else have to offer to the table, because you are shut off. And so it allows you to be open to receive, even in church, even from outside cultures. You're able to appreciate and not make fun of, nor try to diminish what that person has to bring, because it doesn't look like what you have, doesn't mean that it's not valued.
Exactly. Because when you were going like this, it reminded me of the blinders that they put on horses. I'm not calling anybody a horse. All right. Don't get it twisted. But when they put those blinders on like this for a horse, they want the horse to see what's in front of them and not see anything else.
Anything else. Amen.
And what happens is when you are so focused in on just that, you miss out on so many different things. Anybody else has something that they want to add to it?
Yes, I just want to say it's strange that you're saying this, because me and Harry were just having a conversation about this the other day, because there was a movie out one time, and I'm not into Marvel movies and all that, but one time he taught me to go into the movie with us, all of us go as a family, and it was one of those Marvel movies, I believe it was the one where all the characters was in. I was interested in that because he asked, and wanted us all to come together. I mean, it was the time spent, and also was a sacrifice, because I did go. But to me, like I said, even though we may not be interested, but that time spent and that sacrifice is always going to be well remembered. He trying to get me to go to another one now, but anyway. But I think the new one just coming out. I say I'll think about it, Henry. But that time was precious to him, and he still remembered that so much.
Yeah. Pastor, somebody will think and feel or believe that's, they say, all right, that's really special. That I know you don't like this, but you did it because I asked you, you did it, you made a sacrifice for me. But like deep down in our minds, we know that they really don't want to be there. But does the sacrifice become that more valuable in the person's mind when they really know you really don't want to be there, but you know, it's like you're not enjoying the time while you're sacrificing. You're there, like you're present, but you're not present.
But the thing about it is, it goes back to what Minister Smith has said. Even if you don't like it, if you get somewhat engaged with it, you might end up finding something in it that you do like. And it'll end up, instead of being a point of contention, it'll be a point of bringing together. Because the other person, they are so into it, and they will realize, hold up, you love me this much that you take time out of your day. You know that I know that you don't like opera, but you're going to go to the opera with me. That's a lot there. That's saying a whole lot. That's saying a whole lot. That's saying a whole lot. And somebody else want to add to this?
And I want to just speak on Minister Nickens. She's speaking about Henry and how she didn't like the marble, but understanding that it's a safe place for him and her. And that even though she doesn't like it, it is building a relationship. It is building from the foundation. He's feeling safe around her, even though she may not understand anything about it. The fact that he sees her extending herself out of herself to incorporate him into this place to build, that will be something he will never forget. And I understand what Minister Geis is saying too, but you also, if you look at it this way too, we do what we want to do. And so even if we didn't want to go, we wouldn't go. And even if I didn't want to watch the show, I wouldn't sit there. But there is love that draws you to a place where it will cause you to pull out of yourself to be with someone who you love.
Even if you don't understand whatever it is that you're watching,
right, exactly.
or whatever it is that's going on,
right,
you'll just do it.
Through all of these here conversations and all of these here comments, nobody ever saw my lips moving at all, but all of my comments was coming out through everybody. So it's almost just like in reading the scripture. When you read the scripture, you see what's on that paper. There's a revelation between the writings that the Holy Spirit will reveal to you. So if we just sit and conversate on what's evident, we won't dig deeper to find and look at those things that are not so evident. So now we got discussion, because sometimes you got to have a devil's advocate to just bring up a negative point just so that the positive points can really have inflection in them. Now
you know what, Minister Geis, you're so right. That brings a healthy discussion. And it's a good thing to always have those moments at times, those flip sides, because you need them. Otherwise, you'd be one-sided with conversation. And that's not even what we're about. So we appreciate it. Yes.
Amen.
And so, Pastor, I want to say about this love language. This is true, because with my grandson, he's in North Carolina. He calls me, I call him. And with those games they play. Now, I don't have a clue about those games, how that work and stuff. But through that, we get close. By being so far apart, we are closer. And like you said, even just by getting involved in it, you can kind of, you enjoy it because he's enjoying it, or they are enjoying it. So you get that closeness, that love through that also. And like you said, spending time with our children, our grandchildren, that's the way to even witness to them, to speak to them about Jesus. It opens the doors for a lot.
Yep. Because the quality time. Go ahead, Latrice.
Okay. I was about to say, even though, like, you know, I was about to start off with a joke, but I wasn't. I just switched it up. But I was going to speak on being someone that was ex-stationary for 3 years and
Freeze.
Yep.
when someone say they want to spend time with you and you're spending like 3 hours or more, but they're mainly into their cell phone. You're not spending time with me. You're spending your time with Facebook and Instagram or texting whoever else. You're not spending time with me. And that right there can be kind of nerve-wracking too. So it's just about going about really and saying what you mean.
Mm. Now, just to let you know, you were freezing in and out. So we caught some of what you said. We got most of it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. But like we said, you know, we have to realize that, you know, the sacrifice, all right, the sacrifice is so important, all right, because you may end up, as it was already stated and alluded to and all that, you may end up finding out that, wow, this is really not that bad. This is not as bad as I thought it was. And besides that, it actually opens you up and it opens your mind up, all right, to a number of different things, all right? Because I'll tell you in a minute, you know, the queen, she knows I don't really particularly care for Tyler Perry movies because they're relatively basically the same. You know, they don't have a whole lot of plot twists and all that other stuff. But because I know that she likes those movies, I will go and see the movie with her. Why? Because it's something that she likes and I want to spend that time with her. So I will go regardless. And there have been sometimes when I do enjoy the movie. Why? Because he does have some good stuff in it. All right. But also I'm like, listen, he's not going to get any better if I don't support him. I was like, my little change, whatever for the tickets. Hey, got to do what I got to do. But it's the sacrifice that is important to the other person because you're showing them, all right, you're showing them by actions that their time, all right, that their time is important to you and your time is important to them. So I'm going to do what is necessary and show you this love language of quality time because that's your love language. That's your love language. Because my second and final point is this: don't blink. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Don't blink. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Because quality, the definition of quality is the standard of something as measured against other things of a similar kind, the degree of excellence of something. Let me continue on. People whose love language is quality time will spend as much or as little time with you, all right? And that's how they show you love, all right? They will love when you spend time with them because that's how, all right, they receive love. That's their love language. That's their love language. You may not understand it, but that's it. Let me give you some examples. I'll even put it out there. Even if it's just going to the store, you could look at it and be like, hold up, I'm just going to the store. Why do you want to go to the store with me? It's because that person's love language is time. All right? You don't do that. You going shopping. Oh, can I tag along with you? Why do you want to tag along with me and I'm going to the store? I'm going shopping because that's their love language. All right? As it's already been stated, going to the movies, going to a movie that I really don't like, going to a movie or watching a TV show that I really don't understand. All right? Or that I can't get with. That is quality time. Look at it. Another one. I'm just going down to the beach for a walk. Well, let me go take the walk with you. Or I'm walking around the lake. Well, let me go walk around the lake with you. All right? just sitting and looking at each other. Because sometimes that's important, because some are just like ships passing in the wind, all right, or ships passing in the sea, because you don't get that time to just sit there and be in each other's presence doing absolutely nothing. And when we do that, that is extremely important to a person whose love language is quality time, because they want to spend that quality and quantity time with you. It may not be big to you, but as Minister Nicken said already, and as every one of us can attest to it, it's big to the other person. Now, even put it this way, another one. I'm just running some errands. Well, I want to ride along with you to run them errands. Why? Because I just want to spend time with you. That's my love language. That's how I show you love. That's how I receive love. We try to pack so much into our day and try to accomplish so much that we don't realize that we never have enough time. We never have enough time. And we need to take the time out, all right, to spend quality and quantity time with those who are important to us. Look at it. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, 1 and 2 states this: to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch that's right there in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And let me continue. We don't realize that we need to take advantage of the time that we have and use that time wisely. Because as we stated, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't go back. This is not Back to the Future, all right? This is not Avengers Endgame, where you're going back in time. That can't happen, because we cannot get back the time. And let me even put it this way. The person whose love language is quality time, they need that time spent with them to let them know that they are loved. That's what they need. They need that time. It may be a little thing to us, but it is a big thing and a significant thing to them. It may be insignificant to us, but it's significant to them. And let me even go this route, because I find it quite interesting that we're dealing with this even in the midst of a pandemic, because everyone that lost, all right, a loved one, and anybody, even before the pandemic, one thing that everybody that has lost a loved one, especially if you were close to them, the one thing that everybody would agree on is that I wish I had a little more time. I wish I had a little more time. I wish I would have spent a little more time with them. I wish I would have been around them a little more. Why? Because I miss hearing them. I miss smelling them. I miss their laugh. All right. I'm forgetting what their voice sound like. I'm forgetting what their laughs sound like. I'm forgetting their mannerisms. So I wish, and I know everybody would say the same thing. I wish I had a little more. Just, Lord, just give me 5 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes. Just a little bit more time. But the part that makes it crazy is no matter how much more time we were given, I just read your lips, Fleeta, it's never enough. It would never be enough. It would never be enough, because we would continue to want more time, because once we're separated, that's why it hurts so bad, because we are so in love with them. And now a piece of us is missing. And we would just want them to call us one more time. We would just want them to say, hey, how you doing? One more time. We would just want to roll up on them one more time. We would just want to go to the movies with them one more time. I don't know if there's any young people watching. You better appreciate your parent, because once your parents or parent is gone, that's it. You may not like them right now. You may have an issue with them right now, but once they are gone, that's it. You're gonna say, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, but you have the time right now to take advantage of it. You may not like their rules, you may not like their regulations, but you know what? At least they love you. At least they're providing for you. At least they're doing what is necessary. At least you're not up in the system. At least you have your parent there. So with that, take advantage of the time that we have now. Even if your love language may not be, or your love language is not quality time, but for someone else, that's their love language. Learn to speak their love language, because you may end up actually enjoying and end up realizing, I really like this love language of quality time. I never thought about it this way. I never really had it this way. Spend that time with your husband. Spend that time with your wife. Sit up there and watch. I'm gonna go real, just go way back with some of it. Watch Lifetime with her. You may not like Lifetime, but watch Lifetime with her. Watch the Hallmark movie with her. As they put it now, go see the chick flick. You may not like it, but she'll love you because you went. Go watch the football game, watch the basketball game, go to the movies with him. He will appreciate it a lot. Even though you don't like it, he'll appreciate it and he will remember. I'm closing with this. One of my greatest memories that I have, and it really seemed like it was from a Hallmark movie. It happened in November. We were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was the teachers' convention. And it was for the Christian schools, the Christian schools teachers convention. And just to let you know, the Christian schools teachers convention happened at a different time than public school. So what made it amazing was my mom had to go early. So she went to Lancaster early. And then my dad got out of work the next day. He took the next day off of work. And he took the next couple of days off from work. And what makes it amazing is, number one, my father never took a day off from work. He had to be really, really sick in order to take a day off from work. So number one, for him to take that time off from work. Number two, for him to put out money so that we can go and spend time in a hotel. Number three, we had him all to ourselves, because at that particular point in time, there was no cell phones, there was no pagers, there was no none of that stuff we got now. No instant messaging, nothing. So we had him all to ourselves. My sister Tisha and I, we went to the Stroudsburg Inn for breakfast. And what made it amazing was we just sat there for hours while my mom was in classes and stuff like that. And remember, it's November. We're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm not embellishing the story at all. We sitting there, the fireplace is going. I kid you not, the fireplace is going, it's crackling, it's nice and warm. My sister and I are drinking Suicides, which was orange juice and apple juice mixed together. We was able to have cranberry juice and apple juice mixed together. So we was having ourselves a good time. Spending time with my father. Next thing you know, We look out the window right there to the left of us, and it started snowing. The top, all of it all. The snow's coming down. The fire's sitting up there crackling. It is the Stroudsburg Inn. It's nice, warm, and cozy. It's the perfect Hallmark moment. What am I saying? If he would have never taken the time off from work, I would never have that memory. And I would have never been able to spend that time with him. So listen, quality time is so important because it creates memories for the person whose love language is quality time. It's important to them. It is a sacrifice that those who do not want to make the sacrifice, it's a sacrifice that you have to make that's important to them. And you're showing them by your sacrifice how important they are and how much you love them. And as it was already stated, you're creating that memory. You're creating that memory. So when they are dead and gone, and you don't have them any longer, you can go and remember. Just like the Michael Jackson song, Remember the Time. All right, let's stop. So that's what happens. That's what happens. And you can hold on to those moments. You can hold on to those moments. Does anybody have anything that they want to say, anything that they want to add, a question, a comment?
I was just going to say, the quality time is also good too, because we as people nowadays live a busy life. So because we're busy all the time, when we do come together, like you said, making those memory moments, because if you don't, even as couples, you have to make those memories. You have to spend that time together because one spouse could be too busy. And I'm just going to use it for me and you. You're busy all the time. So when we're able to spend that time together, I love it because it's not like that all the time. And because you are going in a different direction, it helps us when we do come back together. So because you live a busy life, you have to have that quantity and quality time with each other.
Yes. Anyone else? All right. All right. Like we stated, spend that time. Spend that time. Spend that time. It's can't get it back. It's important. It's important. It's important. All right. That's all we got for tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is going to be interesting. The Lord's already working on it. We got the one last love language that we got to deal with next week. All right. I'm not going to say anything about it. Not going to say anything about it, but be prepared. Be prepared. All right. We're going to come back together next week, next Wednesday. All right. My name is Pastor Lamont Brown. I'm the pastor of Faith Baptist Tabernacle here in Asbury Park, New Jersey, where we are evangelizing to the family while building disciples. I just want to remind you of this one thing. It's already done. You just got to catch up to it.